Hey guys, thanks for joining me for the podcast. Today I'm joined by Gustavo Machado black belt and Navy diver Bill Dorman. He's an awesome guy, man. He just did a seminar at the gym a few weeks back. He's traveled all around, trained everywhere, trained at Atos with Andre Galvao. I mean, he's just trained with just so many people. He competes. He's been all around, everywhere, man. Awesome guy, tons of information, and enjoy the podcast because I know I got a ton out of it learning from him. And if you guys ever get a chance, check him out for his seminar and enjoy the podcast.
What's up, bro?
Hey, not too much, man.
Thanks.
Did you shave your beard?
Yeah, got the beard going, man. All cleaned up. Got a nice black eye going on.
How'd that go?
Some girl training got a knee to the face the other day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you at right now? Where are you?
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach. Awesome. Is that where you're going to be stationed for?
I'm going to spend another probably 6 years out this way, I think, in Virginia.
Okay. Are you? What part of military are you? Navy.
Navy. Yep.
Okay. What got you into that?
I grew up in a small town in Michigan, man, and was an athlete growing up, football, wrestling, track kind of thing, and the Navy was kind of appealing, traveling the world,
right.
Doing cool stuff, and I signed up, went like 13 days after high school. A lot of people were getting a bunch of girls pregnant and just going down the wrong path, and I just wanted to kind of get rid of all that and not do any of that and travel the world. So it worked out pretty well.
Awesome. When did you get into jiu-jitsu?
So I started in Hawaii in about 2006. I grew up wrestling and stuff like that. Wrestled for the All-Navy team for a little while, and was always kind of interested in some kind of martial arts and did some Kung Tao and stuff like that growing up, like karate type things.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy that was into jiu-jitsu, one of Helson Gracie's brown belt at the time, Steve Hordinsky. And Steve kind of had a falling out with Helson and ended up, moving away. And he was like, "Hey, why don't you come to jiu-jitsu?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool, man. I'll check it out." So I went in, I saw a bunch of people in like pajamas and whatnot. You know how automatically you're like,
awesome
whatever,
stuff.
You got these pajamas on and stuff. And so I trained that day, man. I was getting beat up by these little girls, man, 100-pound little girls choking me, arm barring me, and just dominating me. I'm an athletic man, wondering how is this even happening? This is actually legit type stuff, right? And then I started doing no-gi, and I liked no-gi initially a little bit more than the gi stuff. And
right.
Now as I get older, I think I'm more of a fan of the gi nowadays. I think
Yeah,
but
I've always been. I don't know why I always started training the gi. That's my favorite. I'm a big fan of lapel grips and stuff. That's kind of my control. That's what I do a lot. I think were you in Charlotte? You were in Charlotte competing, I think. Yeah, we were there. Me and Chewy and another guy were there, and so I had I loop choke like 4 guys. Or 3 guys.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It's like my move. I was like, they're just giving it to me, so I was like, I'll just take it. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like everybody's got their. I don't know. It's just like my thing. It's like my comfort zone or something. I don't know. Like when I do no gi, it's like I'm always like thinking about grips. So I think it's a bad way to be. Really, it's going to be good in both. It's good to be comfortable in both.
I think you can kind of translate a lot of the things that you do, like with the gi into no gi, and you just have to change a couple things here and there with grips and stuff. And some things work obviously better with gi than no gi, but you can always kind of adapt and overcome. But I think the gi definitely makes your no gi a lot better.
Yeah.
But sometimes people can overcome just with that athleticism and slipperiness, and kind of like aggro kind of style. With no gi, I think it's a little more dangerous. People get in the weird little scrambles.
How far? How were you in the military when you started? So you were in the military for a bit when you started jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I started. I came in 1998 and started in about 2006. So it was just normal working out.
So what were you doing
like
in the military for? Like, were you doing any kind of like athletic activities? I mean, besides just like regular military stuff. Like, I know they have like sports or just like teams, anything like that.
Just like weightlifting stuff. So I came in as a cook initially. I was a cook on a ship right off the bat, and we'd wrestle and stuff. And we had mats and stuff on the hangar bay and all that. And then I went to Navy wrestling team for a little bit and wrestled down there. And then went up to Newport, Rhode Island, and was wrestling with the Naval Academy prep schools a little bit, just keeping in shape with the wrestling and stuff like that. And then I went to Navy dive school to be a diver. shortly after that, and then that's when I kind of got involved in the jiu-jitsu aspect out in Hawaii.
What made you kind of switch as far as? I mean, is that the general progression you had, like wanting to be a diver, or like is there something else you wanted to do?
I mean, I wanted to go to Bud's initially as a SEAL, but I'm blind in my left eye, so I've got some issues with this guy.
Yeah,
can't see too well. So I ended up finally calling the captain of the Bureau of Medicine, like on the phone personally, and said, "Hey, I got this problem. I'm blind in my left eye. Divers can't see anything in the water anyway. You think I could do that?" And he's like, "Yeah, cool, man. Send me your package. I'll approve it right now."
Right. So what's what kind of stuff do you do as far as diving? What's like a daily thing? I mean, you going out on, maybe some stuff you can't talk about, I don't know, but like what's your training regimen? What do you need to do for
So for Navy Dive School, it's a couple months long down in Panama City, Florida. You do a lot of physical exercise, a lot of education stuff, physics, diving physics, medicine, things like that. So you have to learn all about the diving stuff. But Navy diving as a whole, we do a wide variety of different things. We work with ship's husbandry, working on ships, fixing ships in the water so they don't have to pull them out and save a lot of money doing that kind of thing, which is really where we make the most money and do the most work.
Right.
There's salvage diving, so we help out other countries doing their salvage stuff, sometimes bringing up body recovery or plane recovery or, moving things out of port areas so other ships can get in the way or move obstacles out of the way so ships can get in, kind of thing, or put them in place. So we do underwater demolition. We do, like I said, body recoveries. We did the Marine Corps helicopter recovery stuff out in Hawaii. Did the workups to prepare for that. Videoed all the wreckage and found the crash site and all that. So it's a wide variety of things. I get to jump out of airplanes now, dealing with like research and development type things. So we get our hands in just about everything you can imagine.
Are y'all jumping out like into water or like on land? I mean,
Sometimes it just goes because we do a lot of like oxygen diving, right?
Uh-huh.
So in spec war they have like rebreather rigs, so there's no bubbles and no signature and whatnot. So we started filling oxygen bottles up, and then someone was like, "Oh, we need oxygen to jump out of airplanes, high altitudes. Divers deal with oxygen, so let's have them do that." So we started doing that kind of thing. So we get involved in like high altitude physiology type medicine as well.
That's nuts.
So it's pretty good. We get to work with a lot of different people and do a lot of cool things. So
you're always kind of like on the water. I mean, you always have to be near the water, like stationed near water.
Yeah, most of the time we do. Everything is by the water somewhere. So Navy definitely has the best duty stations when you think about that, because we're always near water somewhere cool.
So, you have any close calls as far as like diving or jumping out of planes, anything like that?
I mean, I got wrapped up probably my 20th jump by this guy. Kind of flew in the stack and wrapped me up in his canopy, kind of engulfed me, and you just have to kind of peel that thing off and throw it away. The guy fell about another 500 feet, landed first, and his canopy reinflated, so he was okay. But that was kind of a shady spot. A couple times I was in like the submarine ballast tanks, and we're like ballasting down, popping stuff out of holes so air can move.
Uh-huh.
And obviously we didn't plan correctly, and it started moving pretty quickly. And you don't have your mask on sometimes in there because there's like a dry atmosphere. You have to dive in to get there, and then there's water at a certain level. But sometimes you have to climb around like a monkey, like a gymnast inside of these things, and it's pretty sketchy. So
sounds like it.
In order to get back to your air supply, when the water starts coming up, you have to shimmy your body out of these little holes to get back to that mask, which should be with you all the time, but it's very difficult to toted around inside of these weird little spots you got to get to. So nothing too bad. It's pretty safe if you do the right things all the time. Try and follow procedures and rules and all that other stuff. Right.
I know it's getting a little off topic, man, but how do you feel like has the military changed at all? Like in your opinion, since you got into now? I mean, is anything you've noticed is different? Like even with like presidents and stuff or whatever. Like is anything kind of what you guys can and can't do, or just the
Yeah, I mean, the military as a whole organization is always going to be changing with the environment and the culture with America as it changes. And obviously, over the 18 years that I've been in it, it's changed a lot. And I think, a lot of it has to do with the way that people are brought up and raised in America nowadays. Everyone wants to be a winner and get free stuff and, that kind of idea. So when they come into an organization where there's structure and rules and all this other things, they feel entitled, like they should be, given things when, you have to work for everything. And it's just a change in the culture, out there in the regular civilian world that
right.
I have to deal with in the military as well. But
yeah, I'm just curious. I've never been obviously never a military guy. I'm actually originally from Russia, and I came here, when I was 6 years old, so this is like, for me, man, this is like the best country in the world. Like, I feel like I'm as American as it gets, like, I appreciate this country so much. Like, for guys like you as well, man, you guys coming out of school, like kids and, risking your lives, regardless of what division of the military you're in, you're risking your life. You could be put in a bad situation. So I don't know, man. I appreciate what you guys do. And
thanks, man.
It's the best country in the world, and I hate to hear that people take it for granted because I see it firsthand when people are born here, and me coming from a country that's like was communist for a long time, and you don't even have anything. You live in a little apartment with your grandparents and parents and shit, and there's nothing, like I would never have the opportunities to be sitting here doing anything, being a physical therapist or anything like that, and so
yeah, it's awesome.
This country is fucking awesome. And
America is the best.
It is. It absolutely is the best. And people like you prove it, man, because y'all go out there and fucking do the thing and put your lives on the line. So I want everybody to know, man, appreciate it, that we appreciate, everything you do and that your department, everybody that you deal with, you guys risk your lives. So appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, getting back to it, like how do you feel like since you've been traveling around, like tell me about like progressing in jiu-jitsu and how you've been able to stay consistent. What have you done because it's got to be hard, moving around or being on, I don't know if you go on any kind of missions and stuff and gone for months at a time or traveling.
Yeah. So, we do travel quite a bit for work, and, that's actually enabled me to develop my jiu-jitsu like I have a lot more. Like, obviously I come down to Derby City quite a bit.
Yeah.
We work out of there. I train over there. There's great guys down there with a different jiu-jitsu game, right?
Absolutely.
I've traveled around the world, like Okinawa. I taught seminars in Okinawa with a good buddy, Ivan Sakamoto over there. He's got a great program going. I mean, I started off like traveling, started in Hawaii, ended up going to Virginia Beach after that. Kind of traveled from Virginia Beach to like Tucson, Arizona, Tucson Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over there. Trained with a lot of those guys, Ryan Beauregard and his brothers, Demetrius Ramos. So everywhere I go, I get to meet different people, develop new jiu-jitsu, kind of add their game to my game, and then it's a great community where you just develop everything along the way. You meet great people, develop your game, style of jiu-jitsu, and just help other people in life as well. So that's what I really
So
love
who are you
about
kind of under, like, as far as like getting to black belt, how did that come about? I mean, you trained somewhere and got promoted, or?
Yep, I started with Jason Izagiri out in Hawaii. He's a Hoyler Gracie black belt in Hawaii, Kailua, Kaneohe area. And then got my blue belt from him maybe 6 months after training. Helson used to get really pissed at because I was dominating as a white belt out there in Hawaii, and I thought I was unbeatable for a while, and then he's like, oh, he's sandbagging, but I was like brand new guy, 6 months training, so finally got my blue belt, was dominating as a blue belt, went to Pan Am's and had like 130 people in my division one year, 2007 I think, and got beat by advantage my second match or something like that, but from there, I went to Gustavo Machado here in Virginia Beach and started training with him. That was in 2007, I believe. So started training there. I was a blue belt then. I was traveling quite a bit, so I ended up leaving Gustavo's, went to Links Academy under Frank Cucci, who's under Pedro Sauer, I think, or Gracie University or something like that now. A bunch of great guys, but just wasn't a good fit for me. It wasn't, the right place, so I ended up going back to Gustavo's, a year or two later after being on the road for about 300 days a year and training all over the place as well. So I got my purple belt right around that time from Frank or Pedro kind of thing, and then ended up leaving them and going back to Gustavo Machado, who I'm under now currently. So I've been training with Gustavo for, roughly 9 years off and on, and I'm a black belt under him currently now. In 2013, I think I got my black belt. So this is 3 years now as a black belt.
Were you so you trained at Atos for a while, a couple of years?
Yeah, so I left Gustavo's to move to San Diego for work-wise.
Awesome.
I did my 2-year minimum tour out there. I trained with Atos for the 2 years that I was out there, but I was roughly gone about a year out of the 2 years I was there for deployments and work and stuff like that. But yeah, Atos is a great team. They're very welcoming to everyone that's been coming around. So it was great training out there, man. It's a bunch of monsters on the mat.
Is it Andre Galval, the main guy out there, main instructor?
Yeah, Andre Galval is a main instructor. He teaches most of the classes when he's around. Other guys like Michael Lear Jr. teach him quite a bit. You got Mike Anthony Perez, the monster, coming up, man. Like, that's a kid that's going to be dominating every division. You got so many guys out there. Dominique Bell. I mean, Josh Hinger teaches a lot of the classes over there with the kids and the beginners and stuff. And JT Torres is over there running the kids program, who's now back on the East Coast. But there's so many great individuals there, man. It was great training there.
What do you think their style was out there? I mean, how do they? I mean, they have a certain style. They train, they roll a lot, grapple hard. I mean, there's different. I'm sure you've seen certain places definitely go after a little more than others.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a competitive lifestyle out there. I mean, guys want to do sports jiu-jitsu and be the best in the world, so the guys are training to do that. And, every guy has their own style and they just develop it. It's not like, hey, we're going to do this one thing and this is how we're going to run this. They develop everyone at their own pace, at their own style, and it just keeps on, snowballing. So, they're looking at YouTube videos every day, training full-time, twice a day, 6 days a week kind of thing, doing weight training 3 days a week. So the guys are monsters out there. The competitive guys, man, are just getting after it. So, we do the warm-up stuff, and it's always different, something that's going to, spark a lot of different, muscle groups and, get your training where it should be. And they do some drilling for, get 20, 30 minutes and then get after it and roll for like 45 minutes every class. So, that's how you're really going to develop. Some places, would try and teach 15 moves in one day and then maybe get 5 minutes rolling, which doesn't develop your jiu-jitsu in my mind. I think, drilling 3 moves that kind of chain together or whatever is going to, make you identify them, drill them for a while, partner top and bottom kind of thing, switch it up and then get some good live rolling in where you can actually drill things live, on different levels of individuals. And at Atos, man, the white belts are like, super white belts. So it's hard doing anything brand new to anybody out there. So
just like get new techniques in, trying to work on new stuff. It's kind of, it makes sense, man. What do you think? Like, is there anybody that kind of you emulate? I always ask this question. Like, is there anybody that you kind of you watch their style or their kind of jiu-jitsu and you're like, man, I want to be like that guy, or somebody you've kind of emulated your game over?
Yeah, I mean, Gustavo is a great teacher. I mean, he's really developed my game. So I use a lot of pretty much all my jiu-jitsu has just developed from Gustavo's type jiu-jitsu. So it's like, he's a black belt under Gordo. Roberto Carrera, Brazil, used to be Gracie Baja guy back in the day. He's Rafael dos Santos' coach. So he's like the inventor of the half guard type guy or whatever. So I play a lot of half guard, lasso things, and, I like to work some of that stuff. But a lot of Keenan's things I'm kind of playing into as well because it kind of flows into my game right now. But, I mean, rolling with people, man, JT Torres is like a small guy, but that guy has the best pressure I've ever felt, and he's got the strongest work ethic I've ever seen. And like his style of jiu-jitsu is like pretty menacing, and I'd like to work on that style. He's a little more open and gets after it and smashes. You know what I mean? And I love Keenan's style as well. Like Keenan's got great jiu-jitsu, and he's always kind of developing things. And Andres, another one of his guys out there, used to be a Lloyd Irvin guy as well, Andres Bernovsky or something like that. I forget his last name, but he's got some great jiu-jitsu, and he's getting super strong now too with the weight training regimen kind of going on.
So you like to play lasso, half, anything else, any kind of go-to positions? I know that lasso was something you showed at that seminar, which is something I've been playing with a little more, and also that crazy little wrist lock. I've been trying to hit that. Because it's so, it's that thing is, to me, man, like seeing, like sometimes, I'm not the most creative guy, but like seeing, like, I'm like, shit, I never thought of that, or that's just the craziest. Just watching some of these, like you said, Keenan, like he always has, like, this different guard he's working on, or something, like he had that crab guard, I think. I've been kind of looking at.
I've been trying to play with that. It's pretty effective. It's like I was training with one of the brown belts who's a monster at the academy the other day.
Yeah.
And, he's a bigger guy and strong as hell, man. I had him in that the crab guard for a while, and it was very difficult for him. But
really,
it was hard for me to really get anything going. But it pretty much shut his whole world down for a little bit. So
right, yeah, guys have really.
It's crazy that little bit of tweaking, right? And you're like, I haven't ever seen that.
And that heavy top pressure. I mean, you kind of almost like I guess I was watching this video. He's like it's a Chinese finger trap almost. Like the closer, the more they push, the tighter it gets. So yeah, I've played with it a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm very comfortable with it at all yet. But it's it's really good. If you're playing like a Z guard or a half guard to transition to it, I think it's really it just lends itself to being able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why I really love the jiu-jitsu, man. Is like you could be doing something for so long and think that you've got it figured out, and then someone comes and shows you some small, simple little detail, and you're like, wow, why haven't I ever seen that? Like the one lasso sweep, when the guy's kind of passing your guard in front of you, right? And you just kick your leg through and it's up and over. Like super easy. Like when I figured that out, I'd been playing lasso for like a couple years, and I was like, why haven't I ever seen that before? And it was just like boop, up and over, like so easily, and it's just a small little tweak. And that's why, it's kind of like golf. You get that one good hit in the golf game, right? And it keeps you coming back to play golf. Like, it's just the same way. You find some new little thing, and you're like, wow, look at that. I've actually got this great little loop choke thing I've been working on.
Uh-oh. I can
send you. I'll send you a video of it.
We'll have to swap loop choke stories. Dude, it's crazy, man. Everybody, I don't really go for loop chokes when I train anymore because, people know, they kind of know it's coming, but also I feel like it's like I want to develop other parts of my game. It's kind of like my plan A. So the fact that I was able to hit it, numerous times, that's probably the choke I've hit the most. And sometimes I just give up position to get it. I hit it like a guy had a knee on belly on me. I was doing the open weight in Charlotte. It was like my second or third match. He's knee on belly, basically passing my guard, and I loop choked him from bottom side control. And I was like,
yeah, that's awesome.
I'd never done that before, but people don't respect that grip. The guys that I train with, they know it's like, don't leave, don't give me that cross collar grip, don't leave, and a lot of times it lends people, you get that cross collar grip and they're pushing into, they'll just put themselves right in it. So, yeah, you'll have to show me that loop choke. I feel like there's loop chokes from anywhere. I feel like I can hit it, from anywhere. If I'm in almost any position, I feel like if I'm, except probably mount. Maybe I could hit it from mount. I don't know.
Yeah, you can actually do it. I saw one of Gordo's. He was a brown belt at the time. He won worlds, with the loop choke.
Yeah.
He choked 5 people unconscious. One of them was mounted on him. He had a loop choke. Put the guy to sleep. He put 3 guys to sleep in the worlds with the loop choke, and one of them was mounted on him.
It's just crazy, man, because it just comes on so quick, and it almost lends itself to, if you don't respect that cross-collar grip, it's just, I don't know, for some reason, it's something to me that, I don't know, it just came natural to me for some reason. And I can hit it, from both sides and multiple positions, and I don't know. You
got to give yourself, a cool name, Josh Hinger out in Atos, he's got the Hinger team. Because he's really good at guillotine.
I don't think I'm creating anything new, man. I'm just, I feel like I'm just good at one element, which I don't necessarily like that. I don't like being I know I'm not a one-trick pony, but I don't like that really. I didn't even, my main thing in that Charlotte Open, I was and Chewy was kind of messing with me about it. I really didn't score a lot of points at all. I got I think I had five matches. I won all 3 of, I won 3 of the 5 on loop choke. But, I didn't really score a lot of points. It's almost like I kind of gave up. I don't know. So I was like, my goal is going to be to either work the takedown or get a sweep or something, She was screwing with me about it. And he's like, oh, you didn't score any points, huh, did you? So,
yeah. Well, at least you're submitting people, That's really where you want to be at anyway. You get into playing the tournament jiu-jitsu kind of game, and you got to worry about, the guy's got an advantage. You get, I'm going to wait here. I'm going to stall a bit, whatever, At least you're getting after it and submitting people,
Yeah, and I think
playing that competition game, it's a little bit different.
That's what and I did the Master Worlds and shit, dude. And it's just some guys. They're winning by advantage, and they're so good at that point game, and they're so good at being close to out of bounds. If they're about to get somebody's about to get a takedown, they get out of bounds or whatever, and they're just so good at playing the game, and they're so good at it, And it's awesome. And it was cool because that was my first big tournament, the Master Worlds in Vegas, and just seeing the level of competition, seeing Shanji and you know, all these guys out there just, you know, Rafael Lovato Jr. was there just killing people, and it was just awesome, man. It was so cool to see that kind of how far jiu-jitsu has grown. You know, for me, I've been training since like 08 or 09, I think 08, you know, and it's wild to see, you know, so many more people, you know, have kind of got into it. And it definitely is a lifestyle for sure too. It just
definitely the evolution of the jiu-jitsu, you know, it's definitely evolving daily.
Yeah,
pretty much. You see it. A lot of the things that people are doing nowadays have been done in the past, except for, you know, now it's more known because we have YouTube and things like that. And people are seeing all over the place, and there's a lot more competitions where people are doing stuff. But you know, a lot of the new things that are developed are actually old things that were still around before, but people weren't really playing them as much and all that. You know, so it's definitely evolving a lot. I think you know, the idea of like training kind of with everyone and learning new things and being open to learning new styles is like a big aspect of that. You know, most people are kind of on that road. You know.
Yeah, what do you feel like? It's a question I like to ask, actually. Like, as far as I don't know if you've been any altercations outside of the gym. What kind of techniques have you seen? And usually people tell me it's basic jiu-jitsu is what they see works. Like, if you get an altercation, you know, at a bar or a restaurant, whatever, like, you know, basic stuff. It seems like none of the fancy jiu-jitsu is what works. It's more like the basic, you know, trips and just, you know, controlling techniques. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not going to be bearing bolo on people in the bar, you know, if you do end up in altercation or the street, anywhere for that matter. But, you know, the basic foundation of the jiu-jitsu self-defense is pretty much works every time. You know, nonviolent postures, you know, hands up in front of you, ready to react to whatever situation you have, blocking punches, you know, nice throws. I like a nice little push-pull technique where you just choke people and then put them to the ground with the foot behind the knee, and they go to sleep immediately, and then they can't hurt you anymore. And you can line them up if you need to with multiple attackers, kind of thing. Like, so I'm always like actually thinking about that kind of situation with self-defense. I don't really just train sport jiu-jitsu. I think about the self-defense aspect in like real life scenarios as well. So definitely basic self-defense techniques are very effective in real life. I've used them several times.
What about in the military? Do you guys get any, I mean, y'all get some hand-to-hand stuff, but as far as, is it pretty minimal?
Yeah, I mean, some of the Marine Corps and Army have some combatives type program, and they send their instructors through that, and they're evolving a lot more, sending guys through like Gracie combatives type courses and stuff, which are pretty applicable to that kind of situation. We, at my place that I work now, we bring in a lot of different people and train every aspect of kind of everything. So, you know, guys are into sport jiu-jitsu training. They're training like Muay Thai, boxing, things like that, you know. So, you know, training everything and evolving in every aspect of like a combatives type scenario, you know. So different units have their own little tactics and things that they use. You know, they're all, at least they're getting something out of it, you know.
Right.
I remember back in the day, I used to see Army combatives guys just go like elbows in the knees. And I'm like, okay, triangle all day long.
Right,
you know,
right.
Simple. Like, sure, it's painful. It might open up someone's guard a bit, but they get triangled like all day. And they're like, why is that happening? I'm like, okay, this is why.
Right.
But that's what they were teaching as a combatives program. Now I think that's evolved quite a bit, and the guys are bringing in people that actually know better and are teaching a good solid foundation for the guys. You know, basic fundamentals.
Yeah. Have you? Did you ever have any desire to do any MMA or any fighting?
Yeah, I did a bit, you know, in Hawaii and stuff, and you know, kicked it around for a while, and just, you know, my knees are screwed up, so I have some issues with them quite a bit, like torn MCLs in both of them.
Right.
Like I got ligamentous laxus or whatever, so my joints just hate it. You know, I love training Muay Thai and boxing, and like went to Thailand training over there for a bit.
Yeah.
You know, I still love it, but my knees hate it. Like,
did you have you had any MMA fights, amateur or anything like that?
Yeah, I did a bunch of like you know, amateur type things out in Hawaii when I was there. Nothing big, like small little venues and whatnot. But never really focused on it as much because I was getting injured here and there, and it was just like hard to stay training like you need to start fighting like that, you know. So I never really went anywhere, but you know, brought me into jiu-jitsu world, and I really love that, so I just focused on that a lot.
You feel like that's easier on your body? You feel like as far as your knees go and everything?
Definitely. I can train like injured all the time. I train injured pretty much full time now. Like that's what it seems like, because I got those loose joints, man. I try kicking like just feels like my knee's gonna fly off. It's just kind of dangling. You know, that's
what's
like
the condition? You had said you had some kind of is it like you said hereditary or some kind?
Yeah, I guess it's like a genetic whatever. You know what I mean? Where you have loose joints, and you know it starts from the feet and kind of moves all the way through your body. So my damn feet are off. I got big old bunions. My knees and ankles are just kind of like dangly. You know,
right.
So I've tried a few different things like prolotherapy, which is like they inject you dextrose lidocaine solution or whatever, sends like a message, says tighten these things up.
Right.
And that seemed to work pretty good. You know, I've done like the PRP that maybe helped, maybe didn't. I don't know. I really got to get back into the physical therapy aspect of it. You know, getting older, it's like before running as a young guy, you could do whatever, you know. But by the time I hit 30, it was like, ooh, I better start figuring out how to do this for a while. You know, I've got friends that are 50-some years old. I got a good friend in Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, Joel Gingrey. The guy's an animal, man. He's like 50-some years old, and he's like dominating still, and like doesn't really have many injuries, and you know he's doing really well with himself. But some guys are just like prone to injuries, and you got to kind of identify that and do some upkeep. You know, take your car and get oil changed once in a while. I got to do something like that for my body too. You know,
do you know the name of the condition that you have?
It's called ligamentous laxus.
Okay.
Yeah.
When
just like loose joints.
Right. When did you start kind of noticing you were having some problems with your knees? Was there, as you got a little bit older, is it progressively kind of getting worse as you get older?
Yeah, I think so. But I think I just progressively get a little more stubborn and keep on training. So instead of like resting like I probably should, I just want to train full time. And then sometimes work gets in the way. So I work full time and then don't get any sleep just to go train jiu-jitsu kind of thing, you know? So I think at about 30 years old is when I really started identifying like a lot of little problems.
Have you had any surgeries, like any surgeries on your knees or?
No, I had grade 2 MCL tears and meniscus. I haven't got the meniscus cleaned out yet because it hasn't been that much of a problem. You know, sometimes it'll get stuck in little areas and feel all weird and whatnot, but you know, nothing too bad. But the grade 2 MCL tears is just like misery, you know, for like 8 months of like dealing with physical therapy stuff. And this brace that I use, man, is called M brace. It's pretty effective.
M brace. Okay. I'll have to look it up. I'm not familiar with it, but everybody always asks me, you know, I'm a physical therapist. And everybody always asks me about knee pain and stuff. So I start kind of making some videos, and there's just, you know, there's not a one size fits all. I say that all the time. If I had the magic, you know, ingredient, like this is going to work for you, man, I'd tell everybody to do it. But like, you have to find the formula.
Exactly.
So like, what do you do as far as what's your training schedule? Like how many days a week, if you could train for your body, how many days a week would you train?
I like to get 5 days a week or more sometimes, you know, like depending. Sometimes I get to train in the morning before work and then train after work. So sometimes I get 2 days in. Ideally, I'd like to train about 8 to 10 times a week if I can.
Wow.
And that's like, you know, maybe some yoga here and there. I like to do some hot yoga as well. Like Sundays is a good hot yoga day because, you know, it's kind of off day and, you know, getting settled back in. But one of the owners of a yoga studio sponsor us from Gustavo Machado's out here at Hot House Yoga in Virginia Beach. It's a fantastic place, man.
Awesome.
They got a good group of instructors out there. It's good for the body. So I like to get that in as well. And then I got another buddy that's got a place by my house here, Zen Yoga. Mm-hmm. That's got a lot of different instructors. And it's like the Bikram kind of idea style, but not so much the Bikram's boringness of like going through stuff twice, you know?
Right.
I kind of supplement the training with that as well. And then after training, like hot and cold tub therapy, we have a hot and cold tub at work. I like to work that. And then I leave my pool in Virginia open all year and jump in that in the wintertime. I got a pool, a hot tub, and sauna at the house as well.
Awesome.
So I try and use that as like a recovery type, tools. So that seems to help quite a bit as well.
What do you do for strength training? Are you doing any kind of supplemental strength training?
Nothing at all. Zero.
Really?
So that's a problem that I've identified, especially being at Atos for the last 2 years, and the guys really got on the good strength and conditioning program, man. Like I was telling you that Andres Brunovsky, he's a smaller guy, like a light feather or something like that, and man, that guy's a monster now, just from the weight training. And you know, we do like push-ups, sit-ups kind of thing and stay in shape that way. Like I used to like CrossFit type workouts and things like that, but not really CrossFit cult type per se, but like I like the aspect of the high interval intensity training or whatever,
right.
That kind of thing. So I'm going to get back into that kind of aspect a bit again and start doing some weight training, because I definitely feel it nowadays, man. Guys are hitting the gym and training full time, and it's difficult to keep up,
Yeah, I think I think you have to. I think honestly, if you ask me, like I train 3 days a week. I mean, just because I got family and kids and all that stuff. But like honestly, man, I think training 10 times a week is that's a lot on your body. Like I think you're putting a lot of miles on it, really, especially if you had some ligamentous laxity. Like you have to probably take some of those days that you train and like do kind of rehab type work. For me, like I think if you want to get bang for your buck, you got to do stuff that hits multiple body parts. Gets you good cardiovascular kind of workout. I mean, I think like deadlifts, squats, if you're able to tolerate that, they don't have to be, just make sure I think that just strengthens up everything, also builds, a good core. And I think for injury prevention, that's just, that's key, for sure. Cause I've noticed that too. I'm 33 and I hurt pretty much every morning, I wake up and I'm sore, and I used to just be able to, I can't go out there and roll, I have to really warm up. So it makes sense, man. And that's something I feel I can do, Tom, shit till the day I'm dead, I want to be able to train forever, I think. And I don't know when that transition happened in my head. And I was like, this is like part of what I just do, and I don't know. It's not a chore to go to jiu-jitsu anymore. It used to be like, fuck, I gotta go to jiu-jitsu today. And now it's like, I need to get to jiu-jitsu or I'm going to go nuts. So, yeah, man, I think so you had some therapy in the past for your knees, physical therapy?
Yeah, we've got a great group of physical therapists out here in Virginia. So, they help out a lot with the recovery type things and get me plugged in and dialed back in to get things going. But, I've been gone for a couple of years, right, and not being able to really get into the physical therapist type person. It's difficult traveling around San Diego. So I'm definitely going to start working that a lot more now that I'm back with a good group of guys, that can definitely help me get the stuff that I need to stay healthy.
Is there anything specific like that therapy helped you with? Do you feel like anything as far as pain or stability or like injury prevention? Is there anything you noticed when you did therapy, like how your body changed or adapted?
Well, I'm definitely like a stubborn guy. So, when I get into the physical therapy, it's pretty much how I was doing it before, mm-hmm, to recover from an injury type, right, physical therapy, right, So that definitely helped me along the way for recovery. But, I need to get into the physical therapy for prevention, yes, So I need to really focus on the prevention of the injuries, which I haven't been doing because, no one wants to do a bunch of like things to go do warm up, fix small little muscle groups. I want to just get in there and train, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But now being an older guy, I need to really focus on the prevention physical therapy aspect, So I need to get into my head correctly,
Right. Is there anything like specific you like to do? Any specific exercise you feel like really helped you, for your knees or legs or like band work?
I think when I get back into the yoga, my body feels a lot better. I don't know if it's, in my head or whatever, but I get to doing yoga maybe once or twice a week, just a small aspect of that, man, and my body just feels a lot better. Like every part of it, all the little aches and pains and like popping joints, they just all feel better. And I don't know if yoga really helps or if it's in my head and it's like, I think it helps, but I love the hot sweat that I get, right, stretching, and it feels like, my cardio gets better. Like even training jiu-jitsu, like seems to, my cardio from doing yoga will help with jiu-jitsu. Sure. Or maybe it's, who knows, it may be a mental thing, or, maybe it does help with cardiovascular as well. Like, who knows? But yoga definitely seems to help quite a bit.
I think it's, honestly, if you ask me, I think it's a combination of the two. It's mental and physical. Like, I think you're doing a lot of deep breathing, visualization, and you're also doing a lot of stability things. You're because I've done yoga before. My hips are absolutely on fire, holding some of these positions. So it's really working a lot of the stability muscles, holding positions. Also deep breathing, I think, really helps, with oxygen, in your body, just helping oxygen. And also it's relaxing, and you're getting some more mobility. So you're taking some pressure maybe off of your, maybe some pressure off your ligaments and helping, make sure your muscles are nice and mobile. I think yoga's we've done a little bit of yoga at the gym. Chewy had somebody come out like one day a week, and it's good. I think it's very beneficial. Like, I think it's good maintenance. It's low impact. which I think, if you're, beating your body down 10 times a week, and then you're going and you're doing like, strength training where, I would say for you doing like not low impact stuff, because your knees already take a beating, with everything you do. Doing low impact, controlled strengthening, like you said, like, yoga's great, or, even just doing some lifting, CrossFit type lifts are great. But I think, Chewy kind of made a video on this. He said, like, when you get fatigued, if you're a jiu-jitsu guy doing CrossFit, you can the technique can kind of go out the window a little bit, and you're kind of muscle through it. So I don't know. I feel like, just the deadlifts, squats, those type of things are just really, they don't have to be real heavy, as long as it also keeps your joints lubricated. That movement and stretching, and
sure.
it helps kind of with like synovial fluid and stuff like that. I think it's really beneficial. I think it's great to keep your flexibility. I mean, the better your flexibility is, the less likely you probably be to injure yourself. So
yeah.
I for sure think that. I mean, I think, you're doing you got to get something bang for your buck. You got to get something where you can't like work every single, like, I'm going to do bicep curls. And then, I think you definitely have to get something that is all encompassing to your body.
Yeah.
You don't have a bunch of time.
Stuff, yeah, definitely. But you got to do the curls for the girls once in a while.
Oh, man, look at those.
No.
You've been slacking on the curls, man? No.
I haven't done them in years, bro. I got to pull them up, see?
That's nice. Does that work? That gets the ladies?
Yeah, sometimes.
Doesn't? I don't think mine work for the ladies, man. I don't know. my wife's beautiful, but I don't know. I don't think it was my arms that got her. I don't know what got her, really.
Is the quick wit?
No, I don't even know. Maybe a little alcohol. She was drunk probably. She saw me the first time. That's what it was. Do you have any favorite memories, like as far as like jiu-jitsu training? Any big competitions you've won that like have stuck out in your mind?
I mean, I love the competition aspect. I try to go to Brazil quite a bit, and the first time I went over there, I stayed at Connection Rio, which is a fantastic place, man. The guy owns the place, Dennis Ash. He's got a couple houses over there in Baja, and it's right at the base of Pedro de Gavia. So we did a cool little hike up there and brought our gis and stuff. Had some good pictures.
That's awesome.
And then did the Rio Open competition over there, and had some good competition there. Didn't win the tournament. Lost to Jamie Cantu Canuto, GF fight team guy. Super tough kid. He's a world champ now too. But I mean, Brazil, man, the competition over there is awesome. Like, it's cool to go visit. So I think that's probably one of the best memories. I like to go to Brazil as often as possible. Like, the people over there are welcoming, and it's a fantastic place to be. I love the Connection Rio because it brings people from all over the world into one spot. Some guys stay like 6 months at a time, and most of them speak Portuguese by that time, and that they can travel around and show you where good things are at and whatnot. You can train at whatever academy you want. Kind of traveling and seeing like the roots of jiu-jitsu, where it kind of began, is pretty cool. You go to the beach, hang out on the beach, get some acai bowl, go to the train twice a day kind of thing. Like, it's great, man.
What is there anything specific that's kept you motivated training throughout the years? I mean, like, have you always, do you feel like your motivation is always there, or sometimes is it like wean and you got to get yourself kind of pumped back up? Is there anything that you kind of do to keep yourself going?
Man, I tell you what, like, I wake up every morning like pretty chipper, ready to crush the day. So, I don't know if I make my mind work like that or it just does automatically, And I think the people that I surround myself with are probably, the reason why I stay motivated full time. And, I don't know, like, there's a good book, The Secret, that I preach to everyone, man. Like, and I think like that thought process kind of helps out with that, whatever that book does, man. It's pretty magical. And like, I think it just kind of keeps my motivation and mental attitude correct all the time. It's like, I'm always preaching positive mental attitude, and everything's just the very best. If I wake up and stub my toe and like get into a misery mood, I just change the thought automatically and kind of move on from there. You know what I mean? Instead of dwelling on it, people will get that snowball effect, and start going downhill. So I try to wake up every day, man, and just be ready to be happy and positive and do whatever I can to make the day good, and kind of share that with everyone, so everyone else is kind of on the same page. And even if I'm really not in that mood, I try and just make myself be in that mood. You know what I mean? By changing my thought process. There's a great guy, man, out at Atos, Kyle Maynard. I'm sure you've probably heard of Kyle Maynard.
Yeah.
The guy's phenomenal, man. He's just a great, positive person to be around, man. He's got cool jiu-jitsu that's like developed for his body style. Because, he's got some problems with his I forget what the disease is, or
I think
whatever the hell it is.
He's a congenital amputee. Is that? I mean, that's the
Something
guy,
like
right?
that.
And he wrestled in high school and stuff. And he actually fought MMA a little bit.
He's awesome, man. Like he works his jiu-jitsu so good for having so many other things to overcome, and he's got that positive attitude all day, and it's pretty refreshing to be around. So I think, like, putting yourself in a situation where you have great people around you with like-minded individuals that are positive and want to do good things in life, that's an important part of trying to keep that motivation for you as well, So everyone's always trying to make everyone else better.
Yeah. What do you? Is there anything as far as like improving your jiu-jitsu that you've done? Like, you try to take big bits and pieces everywhere. Is there anything that kind of you've seen jiu-jitsu evolve, obviously, like throughout the years? What have you done to kind of evolve your game?
So, the drilling aspect and kind of keep an open mind. I got a good buddy, Greg Walker, and we got to train together overseas quite a bit, and we kind of worked into that game every day. We'd get in the morning, we'd just drill, and then we'd go out in town and like teach, and then put it to work. So I think like the drilling, you have to get in the drilling, put in the reps. You got to put in the work with the evolution of jiu-jitsu. You can't just be like, I'm just going to go train for a little bit. It's got to be like, you got to be focused on a certain position, or if you want to learn a new thing, just drill that. Just like you want to get good at doing pull-ups, you do more pull-ups. Right. You know what I mean? So you want to get good at jiu-jitsu, you got to train jiu-jitsu. That's kind of like, the style that you have to do. And as it evolves, if you want to start working new things, you have to kind of add them into your game and identify where they're going to fit, and then drill that situation. And then after you drill it, work it live. And that's where you really get the good drilling in, is a live rolling,
Yeah. How do you feel like seminars have helped your jiu-jitsu? I mean, like, as far as like you've been, you seem like, do you do seminars pretty often now?
Yeah, I teach quite a few seminars all over the place. Guys invite me in to teach all over, and I think even as I teach more seminars, most of the time I'll teach stuff that I've been really working well for my game at the time. So it's always evolving. I think even sometimes when I teach some of the stuff that I'm teaching that's been working really well, I'll identify some small little aspect that I didn't see before. Like every seminar that I've ever been to, there's always one little thing that has changed something in my game. So, I recommend people to get to seminars for different people and have new different type aspects or outlooks in their gym so they can see different things, right? And then pick something away from that person at the time. Some of the stuff, I'll come back to, like that knee bar that I work with.
Right.
One of Gordo's things. Man, I learned that like 9 years ago or something crazy, and it just now started getting put into my game, and now it's evolved into like, the threads from there kind of flow together. And that chain jiu-jitsu or threads or whatever you want to call them is kind of what I've been identifying more now that I've evolved my game a bit,
So you want everything kind of build off of itself, everything kind of chain together.
Yeah, definitely the chain together, the chess game of the jiu-jitsu, like, first learning that as a blue, white belt, blue belt, purple belt, you're kind of like, I know this one move, I'm going to go for that one move full time. And you're like, I can't get it. But now, like, instead of doing that, I just go for whatever, and I know what's going to happen 4 moves down the road, and then that thing that I'm looking for is down there farther, So that chain jiu-jitsu, I think, is kind of what's evolved my jiu-jitsu now, that aspect of mentality,
What do you think you've gotten from jiu-jitsu? What's one thing, man, one of your favorite things about jiu-jitsu?
Man, I love the lifestyle and the people, man. It keeps you healthy, and it keeps your mind right. You can kind of get away from everything, even if you're in the rat race of life, man. You got so many things going on. There's a lot of stress going on. Like, some people like the yoga aspect of it, like, because pretty much it's almost like a yoga, but more physical.
Sure.
Pretty much if you're focused on a bunch of other things and you go to jiu-jitsu and you're around a bunch of happy people, man, that are focused on training and doing better things with their life, and you get to training and rolling, and then you kind of forget about all the madness of life for a little bit, and you can kind of ease your mind and gets rid of all the stress, keeps you healthy, man, and just creates lasting bonds with all kinds of people,
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. I think it's a lot of it's like a family at the gym, and you kind of get to disconnect from all the crazy shit, throughout the day, and all the stress and the worry. No, for sure, I agree with that. Is there Is there anything like, man, that you still want to accomplish in jiu-jitsu? I mean, I know you're getting kind of up there a little bit, but is there still some goals that you have that you're like, I want to win this tournament, or I want to be able to do this, or train with anybody, anything that you kind of still want to accomplish? I mean, you have a long time. Jiu-jitsu careers can kind of last, 50, 60, 70s, but what do you still want to improve or accomplish?
Well, I always love that competition aspect of jiu-jitsu, so I'm always going to be competing whenever I'm healthy enough to compete, for sure. But what I really want to accomplish later on is I want to have my own school eventually, and I want to help teach kids jiu-jitsu. You meet a wrestling kid that's now an adult, you very rarely see a non-productive wrestler move up in life. You know what I mean? They're going to be focused. They work hard. They everything they do, they're going to be pretty successful. So I want to take jiu-jitsu and add that with our kids nowadays. You know what I mean? I want to bring them along and teach them that hard work is what's going to pay off, and not everything in life is going to hand you trophies, right? You need to work for them. So eventually I want to have the kids jiu-jitsu kind of build up, and then adults as well. I mean, that's my focus. I think will be more toward the kids, and I see like people like JT Torres teach kids. Man, that guy's building successful people in life. Sure. Man, that guy's amazing. If you ever get a chance to check out JT teaching kids, man, it's unbelievable. Like the best teacher I've ever seen teach kids. Like, so that's good to see. And then my professor here as well, Gustavo Machado, man, he does a great job with his kids program. So sure. I like to, take that and build on my own, and then, help better America, from the bottom up.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself after the military? Like, where do you feel like, are you going to settle down somewhere? Like, where do you plan on, like, if you had to say you're home, so you said you want to maybe start a gym, where do you see yourself doing that when you're all said and done with the military?
Well, it's kind of hard to say. Like, I love Hawaii. Like, I'd love to move back to Hawaii and open a gym there someday. But, it's kind of whatever the universe throws at me, I think I'll take that. And sometimes doors just open up, so opportunities present themselves, and you either jump on them or sure. let them pass on by, and I like to look for them and jump on them whenever I get a chance, so who knows where I'm going to end up. It could be I got 6 more years left. I'm going to do at least. So maybe I end up in Virginia, maybe I end up in Michigan, maybe I end up in Hawaii. But I got a good partner, Greg Walker, who's kind of started the business with Blue Ring Solutions, and we're going to keep on, evolving that kind of thing down the road. And he's getting out of the Navy here pretty soon, so we could open a gym sometime soon. Who knows? Whatever life's going to throw at us, we're going to take advantage and just keep on trucking.
That's awesome, man. So you got any tournaments coming up in your interviews?
Yeah, not quite. I got this work thing's going to get in the way for a little bit, so I'm going to get that nailed down, and then I think next year I'm going to try and get back in the tournament game if I can. But the work-wise, man, being gone about 300 days a year is sure. difficult to get into tournaments. But sometimes, like one time I was out in Louisville and ended up there was a tournament, a couple hours away. So I was like, oh, cool, I got the weekend off. I'm going to cruise over there and hit a tournament up, So awesome. It's like random. I don't really need to focus on training for that competition. I just train, and then if there's a competition, I jump in that competition. Right. And, take advantage of whatever that opportunity is. But right now I'm not really focused on looking at what's coming down the road for competition-wise. I'm more focused on work at this time. But I'm definitely going to get back into the competition game soon. Well,
that actually brings up an interesting point. Do you do any kind of competition training? Like, if you do have the time, do you modify your training schedule or kind of how you train, how you drill for tournaments or competitions?
No, it's pretty much the same. You got to get after it a little bit more, I think, and you got to have some people that are really going to push you and, allow you to kind of get after it like you need to for a competition, not just like lax rolling kind of thing, but actually working, from standing up, working takedowns, passing the guard and all that kind of thing, So throwing it all together, whatever my game is going to be for that type of thing. I'm a wrestler, so I like to take people down and pass their guard sure. and then submit, So, that's. You got to throw it together and work from those positions. So, take down whatever you want to do from there, pass guard or things that are working for you and throw them all together.
Right.
So drill that kind of idea and then, get after it hard, fight each other like you're actually in a tournament because it's a different game once you get into a tournament kind of situation,
It's a lot of game planning I mean, that's probably the main thing is you're just kind of game planning. I mean, you're training hard regardless, just kind of game planning what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, for sure. I think like just throwing the threads together, whatever's been working for you that you want to put into that game at that time, and guys pulling guard and stuff, that's like one of the things that's frustrating a bit, but I mean, you got to play into it. So
sure.
Obviously I want to get a takedown full time and then work that kind of situation, but sometimes that's not the case because guys will just sit down and start playing that kind of.
Would you say you're a bottom guy? Like, I mean, so you said you like to work takedowns, but a lot of stuff that you showed was lasso from bottom.
Exactly. The reason why I've evolved into that kind of jiu-jitsu is because of the knees, knee problem. Playing top game and being smashing around on my knees, it hurts a lot more nowadays.
Okay.
So, I mean, when I'm healthy, I like the top game. When I'm kind of injured a bit, I like to play on the bottom a little more. So it kind of, just like, you hurt your hand or whatever, you're going to start working chokes with the other hand kind of thing. And then your jiu-jitsu evolves from there. So that's why I've got so good on the bottom because my damn knees hurt so much because I hurt playing on the top.
That's a great point, man. That is so that knee brace you talked about, what was that called? M-brace. M-brace. Is that specific for any kind of condition for the knees or? Man,
I don't know. You being a physical therapist type guy would probably know better, but it's got these nice little bungee cords that kind of strap together and Velcro on the side. It's got like some nice little metal things that come inside of it. They're easy to pull out. It's easy to wash. Stays good and stable. It helps your knee from like dangling about like mine does.
Is it legal for tournaments?
Yeah, if you take the little
like lateral supports out or the
little metal things out, and it still gives you pretty good stability. It keeps your knee kind of locked together.
All right, I'm gonna look it up. Let me write it down, man. MS brace.
M-brace.
M-brace. All right, got it. I was going to ask you, man, one thing that I've always, as far as jiu-jitsu goes, before I let you go, the mental aspect of jiu-jitsu. Tournament. A lot of people don't want to go into tournaments because it's just you're putting a lot of stuff on the line, and also it's nerve-wracking as hell. You don't know what to expect. It's people you've never gone against. There's a good chance of getting injured. Is that something you embrace, or is there a way you go about dealing with like the mental aspect of competition?
Yeah, that's the part that a lot of people struggle with, and I think like growing up as a wrestler, being in those kind of situations, like at a younger age, it was just like so much easier as an adult to get into those situations. It's just like another day out there, kind of like an open mat almost. You know what I mean? You go into these competitions, but for the beginner type competitors, it's really difficult for them to get into that stressful situation. So. You just got to embrace it and deal with it, and I think it makes you better by doing that. And the more that you do, obviously, the easier it's going to get. But, initially you're going to have those butterflies and you're going to be stressed and worried and like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? Everyone's watching me. There's a lot of new people here. You just got to embrace it and deal with it, There's not like a right way to do it, I guess. You just got to jump, get in there and do it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think exposing yourself to it, I guess kind of like exposure therapy. I don't know if that's what they call it, but like the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I hate it, man. I remember my first tournament. I'll tell you, I always tell this story to people. It feels like an out of body experience. Like the guy took me down, and like I could feel him like breathing in my ear, like slow motion. And then like after the first match, he beat me on points like I don't even know 20-something-0. I don't even know. It was my very first competition. Like I took my mouthpiece out and I had like throw up in my mouthpiece. I was so nervous. I was like, I remember my dad was right there. I took my mouthpiece out and gave it to him and told him to go rinse it out for me. But yeah, man, it's gotten easier since then for sure. I don't know, man. It's nothing that makes you feel more alive, I think, than kind of putting yourself in those positions. Like you kind of really, you feel vulnerable for sure. But I kind of, I know like when I was in the Charlotte Open, I was like, why the fuck am I doing this to myself again? Like, why am I, I just competed like, a few months back. Like, why am I doing this again? And I don't know, man. It's just, you get better at it, and there's nothing like getting your hand raised, or also there's nothing like going out there and doing your best, even if you don't win. I think, going out there and just proving something to yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's awesome, man. I think it's just
winning, you're learning, and then challenging yourself every day.
I think you are. Yeah, I think it's important to keep you honest, keep you alive, and kind of keep pushing you for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if there's anything else you got, but like as far as if people want to get a hold of you, or And you did a seminar at Derby City in Louisville, Kentucky. It was awesome, man. We definitely, the thing I enjoy about seminars is learning something different or a different way of doing something or a modification, or kind of opens up your mind. I mean, is there, as far as people seeing you for seminars, is there a way they can get a hold of you, or is there anywhere you're going to be where they can kind of get in touch with you and have you stop in?
Yeah, I mean, I travel all over the place, for leisure, teaching, training, meeting people. I mean, hit me up on Facebook anytime. I'm on the Facebook, William Dorman. I mean, I'm all over America and sometimes the world. I'm gonna start doing. I want to do the Machu Picchu Trail next year sometime, the Peru thing, and then probably go to Brazil for another 20 days or so, and probably stay at Connection Rio down there again. I love that place too. So guys should get out and check that place out. You want to get to Brazil? It's a great opportunity to get over there, and it's pretty much already set up. So, I mean, hit me up on the Facebook if guys are interested, and I'm always open to talking, talking to anyone. People have questions, what's worked for me, what hasn't worked for me,
right.
what experiences I've had, in jiu-jitsu, people I've met, I'm from Michigan originally, so I'd like to pop in and out of there. Met a great guy, Ryan, up there. He had me in for a seminar while I was up as well. TRZ, or I forget his last name, but Kaizen Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was awesome. Guys had me in. So it's a great way to meet new people, man. I mean, I've met so many good friends and people that have helped me out along my my life, right? I read this weird book, man, back in the day. It was like Celestine Prophecy or something, and it kind of talked about just meeting people, and you take something or give something to everyone along the way, even if it's a short meeting or briefing, So I kind of like to look for that little thing that, I'm getting from someone or they're getting from me, so I can identify it and maybe – if I see it easier, it's easier to give back to someone in the future. You know what I mean? Man,
hey, if anybody, whoever hears this, if they do a seminar, man, if it'd be really a good honor for them to have you out. I definitely learned new stuff. I learned tweaks to things that I've already been doing. I learned how to do them better, which is kind of sometimes the difference between hitting a move and not. I'd love to have you on again sometime, man. I appreciate the time. Thank you for spending the time. Is there anything else you want to, any shout outs to anybody, anything you want to, anybody you want to say thanks
to?
Man,
I tell you, I got so many shout outs, man, but, I'll probably miss a handful of people, but, all the guys that I've trained with over the years, man, that's kind of where I've evolved from. Gustavo Machado, obviously, my instructor now is fantastic. Dennis Ash, Connection Rio. We got Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, Joel Gingrey down there, Chewy over there in Louisville, man. The guys are great.
Awesome.
Rodrigo Medeiros, I used to train with San Diego, Demetrius Ramos, Tucson, Jason Izagiri, Daniel Espinoza, so many guys out there, man. They're all great, man. It's. I'd love to give a shout out to every one of them, but there's 100 different people that I've been training with over the years, all over the world. So it's been fortunate, for me to travel and do what I do. So. Just a big shout out to all those guys that have helped me along the way,
Yeah, man, the seminar was awesome. I still that to me, if I learn something and I can still, I'm still trying to implement it in my game, because sometimes you learn something, it's in your game for a day or two and then it's out. I still am trying to work some of those things you showed us, and I think they stuck out to me. So I appreciate the time and the knowledge, and I hope everything goes well for you and you stay safe. Appreciate your service. And,
awesome. Thanks for having me,
time, brother. I appreciate it so much, man. Hopefully everything goes well for you. We'll see you in Louisville again.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Take care, man.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Anytime, brother.
All right, thanks. Thanks again to Bill Dorman for joining me for the podcast. Check out the other episodes that I have on iTunes at the Jiu-Jitsu Therapist Podcast. Also, check out my YouTube channel with videos on exercise and stretching. Follow me on Twitter at Jiu-Jitsu PT. And check out the website at jiu-jitsutherapist.com for blog posts and more information. Thank you guys for listening, and see you guys next time.